and that was the rain and the tears from the tear gas. And the radio stations, they like to play this record all the time to evoke, to bring up, what was going on in the streets. The last album we did was an album of a heavy rock, underground rock music called 666. Very weird number. And it was a heavy rock album and was very much played by radio stations in America and in England and all over Europe, rock stations. After that, the band did not exist officially, and I took Lucas with me, the drummer of the band, and I said to him, okay, let's make a tour, let's make a last tour. And I did a tour, named it Demis of the Aphrodite's Child, and Lucas and myself, we took two other musicians and we toured Italy and Spain and in a lot of countries. And of course the record company, these days they wanted, which was Philips still, they wanted to take a chance with me as a solo singer. And this is quite common with record companies when they have a successful band and it breaks up, they trying, to do something with one or with more of the members of the band. So they said, okay, we're going to try one song with you. And I wrote a song, this is maybe the only song I ever wrote, which is called We Shall Dance. I wrote it with a friend of mine, Haris Chalkitis. And we recorded that song. And this was my first single, We Shall Dance, which was released in the same time I was on the road with Lucas and my new band, as I said before. And We Shall Dance became a big, big hit in Italy. This is the first territory that I made it big as a solo artist, was Italy. In Italy, it became a very big hit. Then We Shall Dance was released in Spain, and it became a big hit in Spain. Then in France, and in France did not reach number 1, but it went to number 3, I think, 2 or 3. And it was also a big hit, and then it came to other territories. And I released an album which was called On the Greek Side of My Mind, which until today is one of my favorite albums. It is an album that didn't make it very big as an album because the music that I did in this album was a bit more difficult to digest by middle-of-the-road fans. Was a kind of early, it was maybe too early. It was kind of new age music for then. And it was a bit too early for new age music to be developed these days. And record company again decided to do a second album with me. And this is when Lakis Vlavianos came into my life. He came from Switzerland, and this was another karmic meeting I had because we meant, both of us, Vlavianos and me, to make a few hits, a string of hits together. And he wrote the first song that I sang of him, which was Forever and Ever. And Forever and Ever, it is one of the biggest hits in the history of music during the 70s. It reached, I don't know how many millions of sales. And this is how really my name became very important throughout the world. There were songs, this album was really inspired by Mediterranean music and by Greek music. There were songs, outstanding numbers like My Friend the Wind, or Goodbye My Love Goodbye, that they keep following my life and my career through all these times. These songs, they show exactly the style of that album. Because that album is very, very Mediterranean, except of that song Forever and Ever, which has more of an American flavor to it. But the whole sound did match together, and this is why the album became so big. I was in Italy on a tour. That tour I mentioned before, the tour I was with Lucas, right after Aphrodite's Child. One day, it was very hot. And I didn't know what to wear in the show, and I went to a shop there, shopping in the town we were playing that night. And I saw this guy was, selling those caftans. And I said, I'm going to wear this thing. It's good. I'll be naked underneath. I'll feel very, fresh. So I wore it and I sung with it. And people loved it. People loved it. People talked to me about it. Then I was feeling also comfortable. And I continued with it, And it was predestined to be the trademark of my looks, and, in the 70s. And a good friend of mine who was working for Polygram these days, Don Percival, I think I owe him, a lot in my success in this country, in England, because he made everything, he's tried very hard to convince the record company to release a 4-song single called The Phenomenon, because he had a production company in BBC, was working with BBC to make a special on me. So they came to Greece, they shot my lifestyle, and the special was called the Demis Roussos Phenomenon, which was about my lifestyle and how I was doing and things like that. And the record company was convinced by Don Percival to release the record, the Phenomenon, and which was coinciding with the broadcasting of the special. And that was it. That was it. Number one, number one. Then Forever and Ever, they released it again in England, and they made it number one. And in England, in 1975, I will never forget that, I had 5 albums in the top 10 in the same time. It was incredible. That was in 1975. I came here for the music awards, and I took most of the music awards, for me. And then 2-3 tours followed, and we sold a lot of records here. With Vangelis, we worked eventually together a couple of times. In 1977, he produced an album for me called Magic, the Demis Roussos Magic, and the song came out of that album, which went all around the world as a very big hit. In English, was called Because, and but mainly it was a hit in the Latin countries. Because I did it in all the languages, like Mourir auprès de mon amour in French, Profeta non sarò in Italian, Morir al lado del mi amor in Spanish, and so on and so on. That was a big, big, big hit. Back in the late 70s, which was the big Los Angeles days, I was living in a country with so much health orientated and all that. And I decided, to diet and lose weight, because I was very big. And I went through a diet which was working for me, because the problem with the diets, just to open a parenthesis, is not which diet you do, because they all work, by the way. This is a tip. The secret is to do it. This is the difficult part. Anyway, so I decided to do that, and I lost a lot of weight, maybe 50, 60 kilograms, and some clever book publisher, he wanted to publish a book. And he was really clever, because the book sold over 1 million copies, which is a very big number for a book, all over the world. I remember I was in Moscow once to do a show, and they had a radio show every day with an actor and an actress sitting there talking about my diet and explaining the book. It was a diet show. And the actor was impersonating Demis Roussos, and the actress was impersonating Veronique Skavinska, which is the journalist that she wrote the book with me. That was amazing. I mean, when I went there and I saw these two people. So this is, that was about the diet. Since then, I was up and down, but I feel great. Today, I feel just wonderful, because I discovered naturopathy, and this is what makes me going and make me feel good about it. After the success of England, Polygram decided to have a go in Australia and New Zealand um, with my best of, let's say, or the big hits. And they launched a campaign there, and they sold, I think, 400,000 albums, which is a very big number for Australia, for the Australian market. And I went there to visit Australia, which I really love. I mean, everybody loves Australia. Australia is beautiful. And I went there to visit Australia and tour at least 4 times. I was there 2 years ago, and I'm going to go back whenever I have the opportunity.
Et qui vibre tout du long, appuyé contre ta joue, tant l'air est vif et gai.
I took, big hits, French, not recent hits, hits, classics. And I made an album which was a combination between New Age music and French music. I used the Japanese flutes and African choirs and other ethnic instruments. And then the other album I did was Serenade, which was a tribute to the Italian Napolitanian music from Naples, and songs from opera arias, which I did them with my style, and always a combination between Italian music and ethnic music. I hope that my work from here onwards will be a work of which will help to develop these feelings among the humans. And this is why I decided to, whatever I do, to do it within the sounds of the New Age music. I would still want to record romantic songs, love songs, but songs with lyrics that they have a message. And the sounds and the arrangements of my music to be within the New Age sound, and this is what my plans are for the millennium. And of course, a lot of concerts to do, because I believe that at this point of my career, outside of my recordings, an artist like me has more contact with his audience in live concerts than with recordings.